his own reflections, let us welcome Mr. Anatalio Viray.
Good afternoon to everyone, our honored guests and friends of Central, and admirers of the late Dr. and Mrs. Stuart. There's a line which was crafted by once upon a time, CPU's poet and writer by the name of Gonzalo M. Pelayo, which runs in this wise. Not until the winds have passed do the branches sway, and so shall my people talk of me when I have passed away. This line fittingly describes what we are doing today, for we shall be talking about Dr. and Mrs. Stuart long after they have left. So many of us have not seen nor have met Dr. and Mrs. Stuart. They were here in the early days, in the early 30s, and I noted from the program even before that time. But I'm saying the 30s because I only came here in 1931, when Dr. Stuart was already president of Central Philippine College. And so, what you might see of Dr. Stuart, those of you who have not seen him nor met him, could only say perhaps that he was one of those who became president of Central Philippine University and nothing more. He was here ahead of me. And aside from being president of the college, he was also, when I came, supervising the construction of Franklin Hall, the Robles Science Hall, and I think partly the Iloilo Mission Hospital. For he was an engineer. I was then inclined to believe that he was sent here for the construction requirement of the American Baptist Foreign Mission Society in this area. And I further believe that because in the 6 years that I have lived here in the campus, I have not had the occasion to hear or to see Dr. Stuart mounting the church pulpit and delivering a sermon. But he was very faithful in the attendance at the 30-minute compulsory assembly that we had then at Central Philippine College. They were regular churchgoer. With Franklin Hall and Robles Science Hall already completed, I think Dr. Stuart sensed the need of the countries for engineers. And so he started the College of Engineering with him as the acting dean. This is where he busied himself building up the physics and engineering laboratory. I saw him with Mr. then Arsenio Hipolito fabricating physics and engineering instruments. The fame of our College of Engineering started, I think, during his time, when his students easily passed the examination for entry into the Philippine Military Academy. I do not know how much of the inspiration and challenge he gave to his students, how much contribution, but the legend circulating in the Philippine Military Academy, even up to his time, is to the fact that there is established an unbroken record up to this time, unbroken record in mathematics, which was established by a Centralian named Eliseo D. Rio. He was his engineering student, and he was also then a working student in the principal's office. To appreciate a little bit more the work and contribution of Dr. Stuart in the growth of CPO and the growth of mission here in Panay, we need to look at the character of the times and the conditions then prevailing. To promote Protestant mission at that time in a land where people have been soaked in Catholicism for centuries has not been very easy. And even up to the war, that antagonism and campaign against Central Philippine University and the Drilon Hospital still prevailed. I was a sponsor to a Catholic wedding here in Iloilo after the war. And in the course of the ceremony, Central Philippine College and the Iloilo Mission Hospital were bombarded by the priest. He was never aware of the fact that the father of the bride and the sponsor of the groom who were standing before him were all die-hard Centralians. Dr. Stuart never countered the attack on CPO. Quietly, he just went about doing good. He went quietly into the mainstream of the community life. He became a member of the Rotary Club, where gradually he was able to build the bridge of goodwill and friendship with prominent people in the community. When I arrived here in 1931, the legend was still circulating to the effect that Iloilo suffered a blackout or a brownout, which the engineers and mechanics of Panay Electric could not solve. And they have to call for Dr. Stuart, who gave back the light. Now, attack on CPO and the Iloilo Mission Hospital has become irrelevant. And if there ever be one that will be heard against these two institutions, it will be no longer the president that will counter it, but it will perhaps be an army of Centralians. The years of the Stuart in CPO were years of financial crisis and depression. Support which came from the United States of America have been abruptly reduced. The local economy also suffered that students could not update the payment of their tuition. I was the assistant treasurer of the college in 1935 up to 1937, and I could bear witness to the problems faced by the President. You will not believe it that during the summer months, we have to pay our teachers sometimes at the rate of 5 pesos and 10 pesos each time. But he rallied us to keep faith in the goodness of the Lord. And the Lord indeed did not fail us. This may be all I can say about what Dr. Stuart had done here at Central. I could say of Dr. Stuart insofar as CPU and of Mrs. Stuart. She was tall, straight, and very dignified lady. Her field here in CPU was in the area of music. She taught us the singing of the hymns in the hymn book. And together with Mr. Clemente Espejo, they lead us in the singing of the central songs. She was the choir directress during all the years, I think, that they were here at Central, or until they left in 1938. It looks to me that the keeping of home and the care of their children who were growing, David, Dorothy, and Marilyn, were her important preoccupations. But these are not all what they have done here in the campus. There are other things very valuable and significant that they have done in their quiet way of living the Christian life. Only those who were beneficiaries of their acts of kindness and compassion for others can bear witness to this. Among those beneficiaries of their deeds were Johnny and myself, Johnny Proximo and myself. I had wished so much that Johnny Proximo had not hurried to cross to the other side. For what I would say here about Dr. and Mrs. Stuart and Mrs. Stuart could perhaps be better said by him than by me. I feel sad that he could not be around. The life story of Johnny Proximo and myself and mine cannot be dissociated from the story of the American Baptist Foreign Mission Society for what it has done here in Panay Island. Of myself, I cannot conceive of having attained what I have achieved in life if not for the help I have received from the institution which the American Baptist Foreign Mission Society have established here. This is now Central Philippine University. But this only came about because of the exercise of kindness, love, and compassion by those who were chosen to carry on the mission work. In my case, it was Dr. Harland F. Stuart, who was then president of Central Philippine College, now Central Philippine University. I was just a grown-up boy in an obscure barrio of Alibagon, Makato, Aklan, a third child of a very poor family. My mother was a fish vendor in the morning and was a weaver of abaca in the afternoon. And my father was a tuba gatherer. And on the side, he was making a copra maker. I finished second year high school in my hometown. But I had to stop schooling because I was to give way to my two other sisters who were entering the elementary grades. So I took up to the gathering of tuba together with my father. If you have seen someone in your barrio climbing a coconut tree with a kawit on his back, that was Anatalio Viray. And so, on that night, that covered me, which William Ernest Henley, the poet, has described as black as the pit from pole to pole. Never have I dreamed that one day I would become chairman of the Board of Trustees of Central Philippine University, or treasurer of the Development Bank of the Philippines. Never has it entered into the minds of my poor parents that one day their son, who was climbing coconut trees, gathering tuba, would climb to significant heights higher than the coconut trees. But as the God book says, God works in a very mysterious way, His wonders to perform. And out of the blue came the visit of a cousin named Gonzalo Pilayo, whose lines I have read to you at the start. He was studying here while working as a houseboy and cook of Dr. and Mrs. Biglo. He brought fame to Central when, as a fourth-year student, he won first place in the National Essay Writing Contest. He was a poet and writer. He asked me to come with him to Iloilo, for I might be accepted as a working student here at Central. Against the cries of my mother and my younger sisters, with him I went, and after 2 days' journey, we arrived here at Central on May 3rd, 1931. What an amazing sight for a barrio boy. The first time in his life that he saw electric light. Hurrying to finish my story because I don't want to keep you so long. He made me fill up a work student application, and the next day he brought me to the office of the president. Would I tell you that I was nervous and trembling, for that was the first time I saw an American. I was afraid that I might not understand him, but his look was very kind. And he made me sit down. He studied my application, and in a very soft voice, he asked me what I was doing back home, what my parents were doing. I could see the growing compassion on his face, looking at me pensively as he turned to say to my cousin, "We are going to take Anatalio as a working student." him to Mr. Francisco Briones, our construction foreman, for whatever work he can do. That was how the heavens opened for me that day. That was how the heavens opened for me that day. In his approval of my becoming a work student, I saw in it the hand of a rag picker picking up a rag from the gutter. I doubt whether he was aware of my feeling about the event of that day. But if it is of any consolation to you, his children, David and Dorothy, I wish to let you know that your father, Dr. Harland F. Stuart, was the rag picker who picked me up from the gutter. He and Mrs. Stuart were the rag pickers who picked up Johnny Proximo from the gutter. Now the rest of the story can be related later. But let me conclude that very often during the days when I used to sit in the manager's chair in air-conditioned rooms of the Philippine Railway Company, of the Universal Cement Corporation in Cebu, of the Midland Cement in Tanay, in the office of Hijos de F. Escanio, the Cebu Community Hospital, and lastly, in the Treasurer's Office of the Development Bank of the Philippines, and here as chairman of the Board of Trustees. My thoughts would always come back to the man, Dr. Harland F. Stuart, the rag picker who picked me up from the gutter. Then finally, I give thanks to Bethlehem. For Bethlehem has made the way of Central. And it was here at Central that so many of us have found our way to Bethlehem. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Viray, for sharing with us.